Lily Carter's hands froze mid-reach for the menu. The woman at table 7 wasn't just crying, she was screaming in silence. Before we dive in, if you've ever felt invisible or unheard, this story will hit different. Subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Let's build a community that actually listens. The Grand Oak restaurant buzzed with Friday night energy. Downtown Chicago's elite filled every booth. Glasses clinked. Laughter echoed off exposed brick walls. Life moved at full volume. But Table 7 existed in a different dimension entirely. The older woman wore a midnight blue silk dress that probably cost more than Lily's yearly rent. Diamond earrings caught the candlelight. Her silver hair was styled perfectly. Everything about her screamed wealth and elegance. Except her eyes. Her eyes were drowning. Across from her sat Marcus Thornton, the tech billionaire whose face graced every magazine cover in Chicago. $800 million. 39 years old. The man who built an empire from nothing. Right now, he was shouting at his mother. "Mom! Please!" Marcus's voice carried across 3 tables. He scribbled frantically on a napkin, shoved it in front of her. The woman stared at it like it was written in a dead language. Tears streamed down her face. But she made no sound. Nothing. Marcus crumpled the napkin. Tried wild hand gestures, pointing at the menu, at her, at his watch. She shook her head slowly. Defeated. People were staring. A couple whispered behind wine glasses. 2 women at the bar recorded on their phones. A businessman smirked. This wasn't concern. This was entertainment. Lily felt her stomach twist. She should just take their order and leave. That's what she'd done for 3 years, stay invisible, stay quiet, never draw attention. The shy girl who barely spoke above a whisper. But something about the woman's face wouldn't let her walk away. Lily knew that expression. She'd seen it every day caring for her deaf grandmother for 6 years before she died. That look of complete isolation. Of being trapped while the world forgot you existed. The woman at table 7 was deaf. And nobody, not even her own son, was listening. Marcus ran both hands through his hair. "I don't know what you want from me." His voice cracked. "I'm trying." But he wasn't. Not really. Lily's hands started moving before her brain caught up. She stepped closer. Her fingers formed careful, deliberate shapes. American Sign Language flowed from her hands like water. "Good evening. My name is Lily. Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman's head snapped up. Her eyes, glossy brown and bloodshot, locked onto Lily's hands like a drowning person spotting a lifeboat. Fresh tears exploded down her face, but these were different. These carried hope. Marcus froze, staring at Lily like she'd performed magic. The woman's hands erupted into motion. Fast. Desperate. 15 years of silence detonating at once. "You can understand me." "Oh my God, you can understand me." "I haven't, nobody has, it's been so long." Lily's throat tightened. She signed back slower, calmer. "Yes. I understand every word. Take your time. I'm right here." The woman pressed both hands against her mouth, holding back sobs. When she finally composed herself, each sign was deliberate. "I'm Catherine. Catherine Thornton. This is my son, Marcus. He never learned sign language. I haven't spoken to another human being in my language since my husband died. 15 years. 15 years of absolute nothing. 15 years. Lily felt that number like a punch to the chest. Marcus found his voice. "What is she saying?" Lily turned to him. "She's deaf. She uses American Sign Language. She hasn't had a real conversation with anyone in 15 years because nobody in her life, including you, ever learned her language. The color drained from Marcus's face. She never, I didn't think. Catherine's hands moved again. Controlled. Purposeful. Lily watched, and her blood went cold. I need to tell him something urgent. I've been trying for 6 months, but he thinks I'm senile. But I'm not. My mind is perfectly clear. And I've witnessed something terrible. Lily translated. Marcus leaned forward, fear on his face. What? What is it? Catherine reached into her designer handbag and pulled out a manila envelope, thick, worn like it had been handled 1,000 times in secret. She placed it on the table like a bomb. Inside are bank statements I photographed. $23 million. Gone. Transferred to offshore accounts over 18 months. I documented everything because I knew nobody would believe the deaf woman. Lily's heart hammered. She translated word for word. Marcus's hands trembled as he opened the envelope. Bank statements. Transaction records. Account numbers. Page after page. His face went gray. This can't be real. Who did this? Catherine's hands cut through the air with sharp, angry movements. Vincent Hayes. Your business partner. Your best friend. Marcus looked like he'd been shot. No. Vincent and I started the company together. He was best man at my wedding. He wouldn't. Catherine's hands moved again. He counted on you thinking that. And he counted on me being silent forever. Lily felt like she'd stumbled into a corporate thriller. This was supposed to be a normal Friday shift. Marcus stared at the documents. How do you know sign language? My grandmother was deaf. I took care of her for 6 years before she passed. Sign language was the only way I could tell her I loved her. Catherine grabbed Lily's hand, her grip surprisingly strong. She signed with her free hand. Will you help us? Will you help me finally make my son hear me? Every logical cell screamed at Lily to say no. But she looked at Catherine's face. 15 years of silence. 15 years of screaming truths nobody would hear. Lily squeezed back. Yes. I'll help you. Marcus grabbed his phone. I'm calling Vincent. No. Lily's voice exploded. Catherine, am I right? Catherine signed quickly. Lily translated. If Vincent knows he's been discovered, he'll destroy evidence and disappear. You need to be strategic. Marcus slowly lowered his phone. Catherine's hands moved again. Slower. Heavier. There's something else. Something worse. Vincent isn't working alone. There's someone else inside the company. Someone you trust even more. Lily translated, watching Marcus's face. She says Vincent has an accomplice. Someone very close to you. Marcus gripped the table. Who? Drop a comment right now and tell us where you're watching from. And hit subscribe, because what Catherine reveals next will change everything. You won't want to miss what happens next. Catherine's hands formed one final sign. A name. Lily spoke quietly. Carefully. Natalie Brooks. Your executive assistant. Marcus's phone slipped from his hand and shattered against the table. 7 years. Natalie had organized his entire life. His meetings. His finances. His trust. And according to the deaf woman nobody listened to, Natalie had been destroying him from the inside the entire time. The invisible waitress had just become the only voice that could save Marcus Thornton's empire. Or watch it burn. 20 minutes after Natalie's name dropped like a grenade, the three of them sat in Marcus's black Mercedes SUV parked 2 blocks from the Grand Oak. Catherine in the back seat. Lily beside her. Marcus gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping him anchored to reality. The engine was off. Chicago's night sounds filtered through the windows, sirens in the distance, laughter from a nearby bar, car horns. Inside the vehicle, silence pressed down like a physical weight. Marcus's phone buzzed for the 14th time. Natalie's face illuminated the screen, a photo from last year's company holiday party. Marcus stared at it like it was evidence at a crime scene. "Don't answer," Lily whispered. "Not yet." The call went to voicemail. Again. Catherine's hands moved in the dim glow of streetlights. Lily translated. "She's asking if you believe her now. Or if you still think she's losing her mind." Marcus turned to face his mother. His eyes were bloodshot. "Mom, God, I'm so sorry. I should have learned. Dad always handled the interpreters, and after he died, I thought you'd be okay with the staff writing notes, with texting." Catherine's hands cut him off mid-sentence. Sharp. Precise. "You thought I'd be okay living like a ghost in my own home?" The words hit Marcus like a punch. He turned away, staring out the windshield. Shame radiated off him. Lily felt like she was intruding on something deeply private. But Catherine squeezed her hand firmly, a silent plea not to leave. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Tell me everything. From the beginning. How did you discover what Vincent was doing?" Catherine's hands began moving. Slowly at first. Then faster as 15 years of silent observation poured out. "It started 2 years after your father died. Vincent began visiting the mansion more frequently. Always when you were traveling. London. Tokyo. Berlin. He'd use your father's old office for business calls. He thought because I was deaf, I was stupid. Harmless. Invisible." Lily translated every word. Marcus listened, jaw clenched. "But I wasn't invisible. I watched everything. I saw him on video calls with people I'd never seen before. Saw documents with numbers that didn't match what you told me about quarterly growth. So I started taking photos with my phone whenever he left the room." "For how long?" Marcus's voice was hollow. 18 months. I have over 300 photos documenting meetings, phone calls, financial documents, wire transfers. Everything." Marcus ran both hands down his face. "Why didn't you?" He stopped himself. "Right. You tried. And I dismissed every attempt." Catherine's hands moved with raw anger. "For times I tried emailing lawyers. For different Chicago law firms. Every single message disappeared from my sent folder within an hour. I thought I was going crazy. Then I realized someone with access to my email was deleting them." "Natalie," Lily said softly. "She manages all the family's tech support." Marcus nodded, looking physically ill. "She set up Mom's email 7 years ago. Her phone. Her iPad. Her cloud storage. Everything." His voice dropped. "She had complete access to my mother's entire digital life. One password gave her total control." "Subscribe, this gets darker." Catherine pulled out her phone, an iPhone with a cracked screen protector. Her hand signed rapidly. "I have a backup. A secret Google account Natalie doesn't know exists. I created it using the library's public computer 6 months ago. Everything is uploaded there. Bank statements, photographs, video recordings, timestamps, wire transfer confirmations. 18 months of evidence that nobody can delete." Lily translated, watching Marcus's face transform. "You built an entire criminal case. Alone. In complete silence. While everyone thought you were declining." Catherine's hands moved with certainty. "What choice did I have? Watch my dead husband's company be stolen. Watch my son's legacy be destroyed and remain powerless to warn him." Heavy silence filled the car. Lily's phone buzzed violently. A text from Tom, "Where the hell are you?" Get back here now or you're fired. I'm not kidding, Carter. She stared at the message. 3 years at the Grand Oak. Her grandmother's medical bills finally paid off last month. $2,300 in savings. Losing this job meant losing her apartment. Catherine saw her expression change. Her hands moved quickly. What's wrong? Lily showed her the text. My manager. I walked out mid-shift. He's threatening to fire me. Marcus took the phone without asking. He typed, Tom. Lily is with me handling a family medical emergency. She won't return tonight. I'm wiring $5,000 to the restaurant as compensation. This should cover her wages and staffing issues. Marcus Thornton. He hit send and handed the phone back. You can't just, that's not. Yes, I can. Marcus's voice was firm. You gave my mother her voice back after 15 years. I'm not letting you lose your job over helping us. 3 dots appeared. Tom's reply, Mr. Thornton, I apologize. Please take all the time you need. Lily's job is secure. Catherine's hands moved urgently toward Marcus. Show her the second file. The one about Monday's timeline. Marcus pulled out his iPad. His fingers flew across the screen, financial records, stock transactions, board member lists. Vincent isn't just stealing. He's orchestrating a complete takeover. Lily leaned forward. What do you mean? There's a board meeting Monday morning. 48 hours from now. Vincent's been quietly buying up shares from minority investors for 8 months. Small percentages. Nothing triggering SEC alerts. If he secures enough votes, he can force me out as CEO. Marcus's voice cracked. He's not stealing money. He's stealing the entire company my father built. Catherine's hands moved frantically. That's not even the worst part. Tell her about the offshore accounts. The real numbers. Marcus pulled up another file. Spreadsheets filled the screen. The 23 million mom documented. That's just what she could photograph. I've been digging through our financial systems for 20 minutes. The real number is closer to 70 million. Maybe more. Vincent has been systematically bleeding this company dry for years. $70 million. Lily felt dizzy. The number was incomprehensible. And Natalie, she asked. What's her exact role? Marcus pulled up email logs, access records, authorization codes. She's the gatekeeper. Every suspicious wire transfer. She approved it. Every auditor question. She redirected it. Every discrepancy. She buried it. Without Natalie controlling information flow, Vincent couldn't have done this for 18 months. Catherine's hands moved again. Why would she betray you after 7 years? What does Vincent have on her? Marcus shook his head. I don't know. But we're going to find out. His phone buzzed. Another call from Natalie. Marcus looked at his mother. Catherine nodded once. He answered, putting it on speaker. Marcus. Oh my God, where are you? You just vanished. Is everything okay with your mom? Should I call Dr. Richardson? Her voice sounded genuinely concerned. Warm. The same voice that had organized his father's funeral. The same voice that had told him everything would be okay. Subscribe now, his next words determine everything. Everything's fine, Natalie. Mom just had a dizzy spell at dinner. Low blood sugar. False alarm. We're heading home. Oh, thank God. I was so worried. Do you need me to arrange anything? Call her cardiologist. Marcus looked at his mother in the rearview mirror. Catherine's face had transformed into something cold. Calculating. Her hands moved with precision. Tell her yes. Tell her to come to the Evanston house tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. sharp. Tell her you need help organizing my medical appointments and paperwork. Understanding flickered across Marcus's face. Actually, Natalie. Could you come by Mom's house tomorrow morning? 9 a.m. I need help organizing medical appointments and insurance paperwork. I'm drowning. You're so much better at this stuff. Of course. I'll bring everything we need. Your mom's insurance cards, medication lists, doctor contacts, everything. I'll handle all of it. Thanks, Natalie. You're a lifesaver. Always, Marcus. Your family is my family. See you tomorrow morning. The call ended. Lily stared at Catherine. You just invited her into a trap. Catherine's hands moved with stone-cold certainty. No. I invited her to a reckoning. Saturday morning, 6:47 a.m. Lily stood outside Catherine's Evanston mansion with a travel mug of gas station coffee that tasted like burnt regret. The house wasn't just big, it was obscene. 3 stories of limestone and glass perched on 2 acres overlooking Lake Michigan. The kind of place that had a name instead of just an address. She'd taken an Uber here. $43 she didn't have. Marcus had texted her the address at 2 a.m. with a single line, "Mom wants you here before Natalie arrives. Please." The front door opened before she could knock. Marcus stood there in wrinkled khakis and a northwestern sweatshirt, looking like he hadn't slept at all. Dark circles carved shadows under his eyes. "You came," he said. Relief flooded his voice. "Your mother asked." Lily stepped inside. "Where is she?" "War room." Marcus closed the door. "Follow me." He led her through a foyer with marble floors that probably cost more than her entire childhood home. Past a living room with furniture that looked too expensive to sit on. Down a hallway lined with family photos, Marcus as a kid, Marcus graduating college, Marcus shaking hands with politicians and celebrities. No photos of Catherine. At least none Lily could see. They stopped at a closed door. Marcus knocked twice, then opened it. The room had been transformed overnight. What was probably once a formal dining room now looked like a command center. Catherine sat at the head of a massive oak table covered in documents, laptops, tablets, and 3 separate phones. She'd changed from last night's silk dress into black slacks and a crisp white blouse. Her silver hair was pulled back tight. She looked like a CEO preparing for battle. When she saw Lily, her hands moved immediately. "Thank God. I need you here. I can't do this alone." Lily set down her coffee. "Do what exactly?" Catherine gestured to the chaos spread across the table. Marcus translated this time, his signs clumsy but functional. He'd clearly been practicing all night. "We have 2 hours and 13 minutes before Natalie arrives. I need to show you everything so you understand what we're dealing with. And I need your help making Marcus understand the parts one can't explain fast enough. Subscribe. What Catherine reveals in this room will change the entire game." Lily pulled out a chair. "Show me." Catherine's hands moved rapidly while she simultaneously pulled up files on her laptop. Lily translated as Catherine narrated. "Vincent Hayes and your father started Thornton Security Systems 12 years ago. 50-50 partnership. Equal shares. Equal control. When your father died 7 years ago, his shares transferred to Marcus. Vincent owns 49%. Marcus owns 51%. Marcus leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "I know the corporate structure, Mom." Catherine's hands snapped with irritation. "Do you know that Vincent has been buying fractional shares from the other 9 board members for 8 months? Do you know that he now controls enough proxy votes to outvote you at Monday's meeting?" Marcus's face went white. "That's impossible. Those board members are loyal to Dad's memory. To me." Catherine pulled up a spreadsheet. Names. Dates. Dollar amounts. Wire transfers. Vincent paid each of them between $2 and $5 million for their votes. He didn't buy their shares outright. That would trigger disclosure requirements. He bought their loyalty. Their board votes. Legally, they still own their shares. Practically, Vincent controls them. Jesus. Marcus pushed off the wall. How did you discover this? Because I'm invisible. People have meetings in front of me. They take calls in front of me. They leave documents on tables in front of me. For 7 years, I've been the deaf woman sitting in the corner who supposedly can't understand anything. So they stopped being careful. Lily felt something shift in her understanding of Catherine. This wasn't just a mother trying to warn her son. This was someone who'd spent 7 years conducting surveillance in her own home. What else? Lily asked quietly. Catherine pulled up another file. Bank records. Offshore accounts. Shell corporations. Vincent isn't working alone. There are 3 other people involved. Marcus jerked forward. 3. You said Natalie. Who else? Natalie is the information controller. She manages access, deletes evidence, approves transfers. But she's not the money person. Catherine pulled up a photo. A man in his 50s with salt and pepper hair and expensive glasses. Gregory Walsh. Your company's CFO for 9 years. He's the one actually moving the money. Creating false invoices, fake vendors, phantom consulting fees. $70 million doesn't just vanish. It requires someone with deep access to financial systems. Marcus looked like he'd been punched. Greg? No. Greg was Dad's college roommate. He's been family for 30 years. Greg has a gambling problem. He owes $1.2 million to someone in Atlantic City. Vincent paid his debt 6 months ago. Now Greg does whatever Vincent wants. And the third person? Lily's voice was barely a whisper. Catherine's hands hesitated. Then moved slowly. I don't know who they are. But there's someone else. Someone giving Vincent information he shouldn't have. Information about Marcus's schedule, his movements, his plans. Someone very close. The room fell silent except for the ticking of an antique clock on the mantel. Marcus ran both hands through his hair. How do you know there's a third person? Because last month, Vincent had a video call I overheard. He said, our inside contact confirmed Marcus will be in London next week. We'll move the Peterson account funds while he's gone. But only 3 people knew about my London trip at that point. Me, Natalie, Anne. And my executive team, Marcus finished. His voice was dead. 5 people. Need to know who the third traitor is? Subscribe now, you won't guess this twist. Catherine nodded grimly. Her hands continued. So we don't just have to expose Vincent and Natalie. We have to identify the third conspirator before Monday's board meeting. Otherwise, even if we stop the money theft, Vincent still takes control of the company. Lily's head spun. And you're planning to do all this in, she checked her phone, the next 48 hours? No. We're planning to start in the next 2 hours. When Natalie walks through that door. Marcus stepped closer to the table. What's the plan, Mom? Catherine's hands moved with absolute precision. No hesitation. No doubt. Natalie thinks she's coming here to help organize medical appointments. She thinks I'm a confused old woman who can't communicate. She has no idea I've been documenting everything. She has no idea Lily can translate. She has no idea we know anything. Catherine pulled up a video file on her laptop. So we're going to let her walk into this house thinking she's safe. And then we're going to ask her questions while I record everything on hidden cameras I installed in this room 3 months ago. Lily stared. You installed hidden cameras? I'm deaf. Not incompetent. Marcus actually laughed. It came out slightly hysterical. You're incredible. You know that? Catherine's expression softened. She reached out and squeezed her son's hand. For a moment, the corporate strategist vanished, and she was just a mother who'd been trying desperately to protect her child. Then her face hardened again. Her hands moved. At exactly 9 a.m., Natalie will ring the doorbell. Marcus will answer. Lily will be standing in the kitchen, visible but unintroduced. I will be sitting right here at this table, looking confused and elderly. And then we will watch very carefully to see how Natalie reacts to having a sign language interpreter in the room. And if she bolts? Lily asked. Then we know she's guilty, and we move to Plan B. What's Plan B? Catherine's hands moved with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. We burn everything down and expose them publicly. But I'd prefer Plan A. I want her confession on camera. Lily checked her phone. 8:43 a.m. 17 minutes until Natalie arrived. 17 minutes until everything either came together or fell apart. 9:02 a.m. Natalie was late. Lily stood in Catherine's kitchen pretending to organize teacups while her heart hammered against her ribs. Through the doorway, she could see Marcus pacing near the front windows. Catherine sat motionless at the dining room table, her posture perfect, her face carefully blank. The hidden cameras were recording. 3 of them positioned at different angles. Catherine had shown Lily exactly where they were, disguised as decorative items on the shelves. A clock. A picture frame. A small bronze sculpture. Lily's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus in the next room. She just pulled into the driveway. BMW. Stay calm. Stay calm. Right. Like that was possible when they were about to interrogate someone who'd spent 7 years systematically destroying the man who trusted her most. The doorbell rang. Musical chimes that probably cost more than Lily's monthly rent. Marcus took a breath and opened the door. Marcus. I'm so sorry I'm late. Accident on Lake Shore Drive had everything backed up. Natalie breezed in carrying a leather portfolio and wearing a cream-colored pantsuit that screamed expensive. She was younger than Lily expected, maybe 32, with dark hair pulled into a sleek ponytail and the kind of confident smile that came from never being questioned. She looked nothing like a criminal. She looked like someone's competent, caring assistant. No problem at all. Thanks for coming on a Saturday. Marcus took her coat. His voice was steady. Controlled. Nothing betrayed what he knew. Your mom comes first. Always. Natalie set down her portfolio. How is she this morning? Any more dizzy spells? She's okay. A little tired. She's in the dining room. Natalie walked through the foyer, her heels clicking on marble. Then she stopped abruptly. Lily stood in the kitchen doorway, teacup in hand, meeting Natalie's gaze directly. For half a second, maybe less, something flickered across Natalie's face. Not quite fear. Not quite recognition. Something sharper. Then it vanished behind her professional smile. Oh. I didn't realize Catherine had company. Natalie's voice was warm, curious, completely normal. Subscribe now, watch how a traitor performs when cornered. This is Lily. Marcus moved to stand beside Catherine. She's helping Mom with some things around the house this weekend. Nice to meet you. Natalie extended her hand. Lily shook it. Her palm was dry. Confident. No trembling. No sweat. Either Natalie genuinely had no idea who Lily was, or she was an exceptional actress. Catherine's hands moved. Slow, Deliberate signs directed at Lily. Ask her to sit down. Offer her coffee. Lily translated aloud. Catherine says please sit down. Would you like coffee? The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Natalie's smile froze. Her eyes locked onto Lily with laser focus. I'm sorry, did you just, sign language? Yes. Lily kept her voice neutral. I'm interpreting for Catherine. Natalie looked at Marcus. Then at Catherine. Then back at Lily. Something was calculating behind her eyes. I didn't know Catherine had an interpreter now. That's wonderful. When did this start? Last night, Marcus said. We met Lily at dinner. It's been incredibly helpful. I'm sure. Natalie's voice remained pleasant, but her posture had shifted. Shoulders back. Weight on the balls of her feet. Like she was preparing to run or fight. She sat down slowly at the table across from Catherine. Her hands rested flat on the surface. No fidgeting. No nervous tells. Catherine's hands moved again. Tell her we need help organizing my medical files. Ask her to pull up my insurance information on her laptop. Lily translated. Natalie smiled and opened her laptop. Of course. I have all your information backed up. Let me just. She pulled up a file system. Catherine watched her screen carefully, then signed to Lily. Ask her when was the last time she updated my primary care physician contact. Lily asked. Natalie clicked through folders. Looks like I updated it in August when Dr. Richardson moved offices. Why? Is something wrong? Ask her why my sent emails folder is empty. The question hung in the air like a blade. Natalie's fingers paused on the keyboard for 1 second. 2. Then continued typing. Your sent folder. It shouldn't be empty. You probably need to adjust your settings. Sometimes emails archive automatically. I can fix that right now if you want. Her voice was steady. Her hands were steady. But a tiny muscle in her jaw twitched. Catherine's hands moved faster. Ask her why 4 emails I sent to law firms in March disappeared. Lily translated word for word. Marcus leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching Natalie like a hawk. I don't know anything about that, Catherine. Natalie looked genuinely confused. Concerned even. What law firms? Were you trying to reach someone? You should have told me. I could have helped you contact them. I did tell you. I wrote you a note asking you to email Morrison and Associates. You said you would. Then the note disappeared. Natalie shook her head slowly. Catherine, I never got a note like that. I promise. If I had, I would have handled it immediately. You know I would. She sounded sincere. Hurt even. Like she was the victim of some terrible misunderstanding. Catherine pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved across the screen, then she turned it around, showing Natalie a photograph. It was a handwritten note on yellow legal paper. Clear. Dated. March 17, Natalie, please email Morrison and Associates for me. I need a lawyer. Something is wrong with Vincent. Catherine. Natalie stared at the photo. Her face didn't change, but her breathing did. Faster. Shallower. I never saw that note, she said quietly. I swear to God, Catherine, I never saw it. Because you deleted it. Just like you deleted my emails. Just like you've been deleting every attempt I've made to get help. Lily translated, her voice stronger now. Catherine wasn't asking questions anymore. She was making accusations. Natalie stood up abruptly. Her chair scraped against hardwood. I don't know what's happening here, but I would never delete your communications. Never. I've worked for this family for 7 years. I've been nothing but loyal. Who's lying? Subscribe, the answer will destroy you. Sit down, Natalie. Marcus's voice was ice. We're not done. I think I should go. This feels like an ambush. Natalie grabbed her laptop. It's not an ambush. Marcus stepped between her and the door. It's a conversation. One you're going to have before you leave this house. Natalie's mask finally cracked. Fear flashed across her face. Am I being accused of something? You tell me. Marcus pulled out his phone and turned it toward her. On the screen was a bank statement. Wire transfer. March 23, $4.7 million. Authorized by Natalie Brooks. What is this? Her voice was barely a whisper. You approved this transfer. Your digital signature. Your authorization code. That's routine. I approve transfers all the time. It's part of my job. To a shell company called Meridian Consulting that doesn't exist. Marcus stepped closer. To an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. That's routine. Natalie's face went white. She looked at Catherine, at Lily, at Marcus. Trapped. I want a lawyer, she said. You're not under arrest, Marcus said. Not yet. But you're going to sit down and tell me the truth. Right now. Or I call the FBI, and you walk out of here in handcuffs. Natalie stood frozen. Her laptop bag clutched to her chest like a shield. Then Catherine did something Lily hadn't expected. She stood up slowly, walked around the table, and looked Natalie directly in the eyes. Her hands moved. Lily translated, her voice soft but clear. I watched you. For 18 months. I saw everything. Every deleted email. Every approved transfer. Every lie you told my son. I know you're working with Vincent. I know about the money. I know about Gregory Walsh. And I know you're scared. Tears formed in Natalie's eyes. Real tears. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to sit down. You're going to tell us everything. Who recruited you? Why you agreed? What Vincent promised you? And most importantly, who else is helping him? Catherine's hands paused, then finished with devastating precision. Because if you don't, the woman you've been ignoring for 7 years will destroy you. Natalie's legs gave out. She sank into the chair, her laptop falling to the floor with a crack. And then she started talking. Natalie's hands trembled so badly she had to clasp them together on the table. Her mascara ran in black streaks down her cheeks. The confident executive assistant had shattered into something raw and desperate. It started 3 years ago, she whispered. Not 18 months. 3 years. Marcus stood perfectly still. Catherine's hands were poised to sign, but she waited. Lily held her breath. I was drowning in debt. Student loans. My mom's cancer treatments. My brother's rehab bills. I was working 3 jobs and still couldn't keep up. I was going to lose everything. Natalie's voice cracked. Vincent found out. I don't know how. He just showed up at my apartment one night with a check for $50,000. Just like that. Marcus's voice was hollow. No strings attached. Natalie laughed bitterly. There are always strings. He said it was a loan. Said I could pay him back whenever. But 6 months later, he came back. Said he needed a favor. Just one small thing. Approve a wire transfer. $200,000 to a consulting firm. He said it was legitimate, just needed to bypass some red tape. She wiped her face with shaking hands. I knew it was wrong. But I owed him. And it was just once. Except it wasn't just once. It was every month. Then every week. The amounts got bigger. The explanations got thinner. And by the time I realized what I was actually doing, I was in too deep to get out. Catherine's hands moved. Lily translated. He trapped you. Yes. Natalie looked at Catherine with genuine anguish. But I trapped myself first. I made the choice. I took the money. I knew better, and I did it anyway. Subscribe, every choice has a price. This one costs everything. Marcus pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. How much? Total. How much did you help him steal? Natalie closed her eyes. I don't know the exact number. Maybe 60 million. Maybe more. He moved money through so many accounts, so many shell companies. I just approved transfers and deleted evidence. Gregory handled the actual accounting fraud. And the emails? Catherine's hands were sharp, angry. My attempts to contact lawyers. Vincent told me you were getting paranoid. Confused. He said your dementia was getting worse. He said if you started making accusations, it would hurt Marcus's reputation, hurt the company. He convinced me I was protecting you. Protecting the family. Fresh tears spilled down her face. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. Because the truth meant I was destroying people I cared about. Lily felt sick. She'd seen this pattern before with her grandmother's caretakers. People who rationalized cruelty by pretending it was kindness. Marcus leaned forward. Monday's board meeting. What's Vincent planning? Natalie hesitated. Catherine slammed her hand on the table, making everyone jump. Her hands moved furiously. Tell him. Now. Vincent has the votes to remove Marcus as CEO. He's been buying board loyalty for months. Once Marcus is out, Vincent becomes acting CEO. Then he'll manipulate the stock price down, buy out the remaining shares at a discount, and take the company private. Marcus will own nothing. The room fell into stunned silence. And the third person? Lily asked quietly. Catherine knows there's someone else feeding Vincent information. Who is it? Natalie's face contorted with something between guilt and fear. I can't. If I tell you, they'll what? Marcus's voice turned to steel. Kill you? Hurt your family? Natalie, you're already facing federal charges for wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Your only chance at any kind of mercy is full cooperation. She shook her head violently. You don't understand. This person isn't like Vincent. Vincent is motivated by greed. This person is motivated by revenge. They want to destroy you, Marcus. Not just take your company. Destroy your entire life. The words hung in the air like poison gas. Catherine's hands moved slowly, deliberately. Who wants revenge against my son? Natalie looked at Marcus with something close to pity. Your ex-wife. Vanessa. Marcus went rigid. The color drained from his face. No. Vanessa wouldn't, we had a clean divorce. She got the settlement she wanted. She moved on. She didn't move on. Natalie's voice was barely audible. She hated you for the prenup. Hated that she only got $5 million when the company was worth hundreds of millions. Vincent approached her a year ago. Told her if she fed him information about your schedule, your plans, your vulnerabilities, she'd get 20% of the company when he took over. $40 million. Marcus stood up so fast his chair crashed backward. He turned away, hands gripping the back of his head. His shoulders shook. Catherine rose and went to him. She placed one hand on his shoulder. No signs. No words. Just presence. Lily felt like an intruder watching this moment of private devastation. But she couldn't look away. When Marcus finally turned around, his eyes were red but his jaw was set. Where's Vincent right now? I don't know. He doesn't tell me his location anymore. Not since last week. Why last week? Natalie swallowed hard. Because last week he told me the timeline was accelerating. He said after Monday's board meeting, he's disappearing. New identity. New country. He's never coming back. Want to know if they catch him? Subscribe now, time is running out. Catherine's hands moved rapidly. Lily translated as fast as she could. We need to stop him before Monday. Before he gets on a plane. Before he takes the company and vanishes with $70 million. How? Marcus's voice was raw. We have evidence of the theft, but not enough to get a warrant this fast. And even if we did, he could be gone by tonight. Catherine walked back to the table and pulled up something on her laptop. A document. Legal and dense. I had a lawyer draft this last week. Power of attorney documents giving me emergency control of the company if you're incapacitated or unavailable. Your father set up the provision years ago. It was never removed. Marcus stared at the screen. Mom, I'm not incapacitated. But you could be. Temporarily. If you were to have a medical emergency that required hospitalization. Understanding slowly dawned on his face. You want me to fake a medical emergency? Not fake. Induce. There's a medication that causes temporary symptoms similar to a heart attack. Rapid heartbeat, chest pain, elevated blood pressure. Enough to require hospitalization for observation. 24 hours. Maybe 48. That's insane. Marcus looked at his mother like she'd grown a second head. It's strategic. If you're hospitalized, I take emergency control of the company under the existing provisions. I can freeze all accounts. Stop all transfers. Lock Vincent out of everything. And most importantly, I can postpone Monday's board meeting indefinitely due to CEO medical emergency. Lily's jaw dropped. You've been planning this. Catherine's hands moved with something close to a smile. For 6 months. I knew I'd need leverage eventually. This is it. Natalie looked between them all. That could actually work. If Vincent thinks Marcus is incapacitated and Catherine is just the grieving mother, he won't see the takeover coming. He'll think he's won. Until the accounts freeze and the FBI shows up at his door. Marcus paced the room. But I'd actually have to go to the hospital. With real symptoms. That's dangerous. Catherine's hands moved firmly. $70 million is dangerous. Losing your father's company is dangerous. This is chess, Marcus. And we're 3 moves from checkmate. Marcus looked at his mother for a long moment. Then at Lily. Then at Natalie's tear-stained face. Finally, he nodded. Make the call. Find the medication. Let's burn this whole thing down. Catherine pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved with absolute certainty. The trap was no longer theoretical. It was about to snap shut. Saturday, 4:37 p.m. Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Emergency Department. Lily sat in the waiting room surrounded by the usual chaos, crying children, coughing patients, worried families clustered around clipboards. The fluorescent lights made everyone look half dead. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus's number, but Catherine's words, they admitted him. Room 714. Come up. Bring the files. Lily grabbed the leather messenger bag at her feet, stuffed with printed documents, USB drives, and Catherine's 18 months of evidence, and headed for the elevators. Her hands were sweating. This was insane. All of it. 48 hours ago she was serving overpriced salmon to people who didn't see her. Now she was carrying evidence of a $70 million conspiracy into a hospital room where a billionaire was faking cardiac symptoms. The 7th floor was quieter. Calmer. Private rooms with actual doors instead of curtains. Lily found 714 and knocked softly. "Come in." Catherine's voice. Actual voice. Not signs. Lily had never heard her speak before. She pushed open the door. Marcus lay in the hospital bed hooked up to monitors that beeped steadily. He looked genuinely terrible, pale, sweaty, dark circles carved under his eyes. And 4 ran into his left arm. Catherine sat in the chair beside him, laptop open. She looked up when Lily entered and immediately switched back to signing. "Close the door. Lock it." Lily obeyed. "Is he okay?" The medication worked. Elevated heart rate, chest pain, high blood pressure. The doctors want to observe him overnight. Run tests in the morning. "It's perfect." Marcus spoke, his voice hoarse. "Perfect is not the word I'd use. I feel like I got hit by a truck." "You look like it too," Lily said, then immediately regretted the honesty. Marcus actually smiled. "Thanks. Really boosting my morale here." Catherine's hands moved impatiently. "We don't have time for jokes. Natalie called Vincent 20 minutes ago. Told him Marcus collapsed at home and was rushed to the hospital. He's on his way here right now." Lily's stomach dropped. "He's coming here? To the hospital?" "Of course he is. He needs to see for himself that Marcus is actually incapacitated. He won't make his move until he's certain." "His move?" Lily set down the bag. "What move?" Marcus shifted in the bed, wincing. "Mom accessed the emergency power of attorney an hour ago. She's now interim CEO. Which means she has access to all company accounts, all authorization systems, all financial controls. Subscribe. What Catherine does next will shock everyone who doubted her. I've already frozen 12 offshore accounts. Locked out 23 shell corporations. Flagged 47 fraudulent wire transfers to the SEC. And sent encrypted copies of all evidence to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division." Catherine's hands moved with fierce satisfaction. "Vincent doesn't know yet. He thinks I'm just a grieving mother sitting by her son's hospital bed. He thinks he's won. But the trap is already closing around him." Lily sank into the second chair. "And when he shows up here? We let him perform. Let him play the concerned business partner. Let him think he's fooled us all. And we record everything. Every word. Every lie. Every piece of evidence we need to bury him." Marcus's heart monitor beeped faster. A nurse's voice came through the intercom. "Mr. Thornton. Your heart rate is elevated. Do you need anything?" He pressed the call button. "I'm fine. Just stress. Family stuff. Try to stay calm. Deep breaths." When the intercom clicked off, Marcus looked at his mother. "This is really happening. We're actually doing this." "Yes. And when it's over, your father's company will be safe. Vincent will be in prison. And nobody will ever underestimate the deaf woman again." Lily reached into the messenger bag and pulled out a folder. "I brought something. From my grandmother's papers. I thought you should see it." Catherine's expression shifted. Curious. She took the folder and opened it. Inside were yellowed newspaper clippings from 1978. Articles about a discrimination lawsuit. A deaf woman in Atlanta who sued her employer for wrongful termination. She'd won. The headlines praised her courage. "Your grandmother did this?" She was the first deaf person in Georgia to win a workplace discrimination case. She couldn't afford a lawyer, so she represented herself. Used an interpreter and filed all her own paperwork. Took 3 years. She was 26 years old. Catherine stared at the clippings, her eyes glistening. "She taught me something before she died," Lily continued. She said the world will try to silence you 1,000 different ways. They'll ignore you, dismiss you, talk over you, pretend you don't exist. But silence is only permanent if you accept it. If you keep fighting, keep documenting, keep demanding to be heard, eventually, someone will listen. Catherine's hands trembled as she signed. She sounds like she was an extraordinary woman. She was. And so are you. The moment hung between them. Then Catherine carefully folded the clippings and handed them back. Her hands moved with renewed determination. When this is over, I want to meet with advocacy groups. Deaf communities. Legal organizations. I want to fund interpreters for people who can't afford them. I want to make sure no one else spends 15 years in silence. A knock on the door shattered the moment. All three of them froze. Marcus? It's Vincent. Can I come in? Marcus looked at his mother. Catherine nodded once. She positioned her laptop carefully, camera facing the door. Recording. Yeah, come in. The door opened. Vincent Hayes entered, salt and pepper hair, expensive suit, concerned expression perfectly calibrated. He looked exactly like what he was supposed to be, the loyal business partner rushing to his friend's side. Jesus, Marcus. Natalie called me. Are you okay? What did the doctor say? Vincent approached the bed, genuine worry in his voice. Will Vincent confess? Subscribe, you won't believe how this unfolds. They don't know yet. Running tests. Might be stress-related. Marcus's voice was weak. Convincing. Vincent glanced at Catherine, who sat quietly in the corner, hands folded. He probably thought she was just the worried mother. Harmless. Invisible. Mrs. Thornton, I'm so sorry. This must be terrifying for you. Vincent's voice was gentle. Kind even. Catherine didn't respond. Didn't sign. Played her part perfectly. Vincent turned back to Marcus. Look, I know this is the worst possible timing, but we need to talk about Monday's board meeting. If you're not well enough to attend. I won't be, Marcus interrupted. Mom's taking over temporarily. Emergency power of attorney. Dad set it up years ago. Something flickered across Vincent's face. Too fast to identify. Then the concern returned. Of course. That makes sense. Catherine can hold down the fort until you're better. He said it like he meant it. Like he wasn't currently planning to steal everything Marcus's father built. I'll handle communications with the board, Vincent continued. Keep everyone calm. We'll postpone any major decisions until you're back on your feet. Thanks, man. I knew I could count on you. The words were acid in Marcus's mouth. Lily could see it. But Vincent just smiled and squeezed his shoulder. Always. We're partners. Brothers. Nothing changes that. Catherine's hands moved slowly. Signs directed at Lily, who sat slightly behind Vincent where he couldn't see. Ask him about the Meridian account. Lily spoke up, her voice soft. Mr. Hayes. Catherine wanted me to ask you something. About a Meridian account? Vincent turned to look at her for the first time. His expression was polite but confused. I'm sorry, who are you? Lily Carter. I'm interpreting for Catherine. She has some questions about company finances. Vincent's smile didn't waver, but his shoulders tensed. Oh. Catherine, of course. What's the question? Catherine's hands moved. Lily translated. She wants to know why $4.7 million was transferred to Meridian Consulting in March. Vincent's face remained perfectly neutral. Meridian is a legitimate consulting firm we use for overseas expansion research. All above board. Why are you asking about specific transactions? That seems unusual. Because I've been watching. For 18 months. And Meridian doesn't exist. Lily translated. The temperature in the room dropped. Vincent's mask finally cracked. Just for a second. Fear flashed across his face before the concerned friend returned. Catherine, I think you might be confused. The medications they gave Marcus might be affecting you too. Stress does strange things. I'm not confused. I'm deaf. Not stupid. And I have evidence of everything you've done. Vincent's hand moved toward his phone. Catherine was faster. She held up her laptop screen, showing a live feed being broadcast to 3 different locations. FBI. SEC, Chicago Police Department Financial Crimes Unit. All watching this conversation right now. All reviewing the evidence I sent them 2 hours ago. You're done, Vincent. Vincent's face went white. Then red. Then something dangerous flickered in his eyes. He turned toward the door. It opened before he reached it. 2 FBI agents stepped inside, badges already out. Vincent Hayes, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Vincent didn't run. Didn't fight. He just stood there as they read him his rights and cuffed his hands behind his back. As they led him past Catherine, he looked at her with something close to respect. I underestimated you. Catherine's hands moved one final time. Everyone does. That's why I win. Sunday morning, 9:15 a.m. Chicago FBI Field Office, Interview Room 3. Lily had never been inside a federal building before. The walls were beige, the chairs uncomfortable, and the air smelled like burnt coffee and desperation. She sat beside Catherine at a metal table across from 2 agents, Special Agent Torres and Special Agent Kim. Marcus was still at the hospital under observation, but he'd been cleared of any real cardiac issues. The medication had worn off. He'd be released by noon. Vincent was 3 floors down in holding. Gregory Walsh had been arrested at his home in Lake Forest at 6 a.m. Both men were facing decades in federal prison. But Vanessa was still out there. And that's why they were here. Agent Torres clicked his pen repeatedly, a nervous habit that was driving Lily insane. Mrs. Thornton, I need you to understand something. Your ex-daughter-in-law is currently in violation of several federal statutes. But without her testimony against Vincent Hayes regarding the board manipulation scheme, our case has holes. We need her cooperation. Catherine's hands moved sharply. Lily translated. She wants to know why Vanessa isn't already in custody. Because she's smart. Agent Kim pulled up a file on her tablet. Vanessa Thornton, well, Vanessa Crawford now, she took back her maiden name, left the country yesterday morning. Private flight to Toronto. We contacted Canadian authorities, but she's not doing anything illegal in Canada. We can't extradite her for conspiracy without stronger evidence. So she gets away with it? Not necessarily. Torres leaned forward. If we can get her to return voluntarily and cooperate, we can offer immunity. She provides testimony about Vincent's board manipulation scheme, the $20 million payout he promised her, and the information she fed him about Marcus's schedule and plans. In exchange, she walks away clean. Catherine's hands exploded into furious motion. Lily translated as fast as she could. She tried to destroy my son. She helped steal $70 million. She fed information to criminals for 18 months. And you want to give her immunity? We want to put Vincent Hayes and Gregory Walsh in prison for 20 years, Kim said firmly. That requires airtight testimony. Vanessa is the missing piece. Then find another piece. I won't let her walk away. Torres sighed. With all due respect, Mrs. Thornton, this isn't your decision. The federal prosecutor makes these calls. And right now, Vanessa holds cards we need. Catherine stood abruptly. Her chair scraped against linoleum. She pulled out her phone and typed rapidly, then turned the screen toward both agents. It was a text conversation. Vanessa's name at the top. Messages from last night, after Vincent's arrest. Vanessa. I heard about Vincent. I had nothing to do with that. Catherine, I know everything. Come home and confess. Vanessa, you can't prove anything. I was just a source. That's not illegal. Catherine, I have recordings. 18 months of surveillance. Including you and Vincent discussing the board takeover in my living room last December. There was a long pause in the text thread. Then. Vanessa, you're bluffing. You're deaf. You can't record conversations you can't hear. Catherine, I can record video. With timestamps. With subtitles generated by AI software. With your faces clearly visible. Try me. The agent stared at the screen. Torres looked at Catherine with new respect. Do you actually have video of them discussing the conspiracy? Catherine's hands moved with a slight smile. Yes. For separate occasions. Vincent thought because I couldn't hear them, I wasn't paying attention. But I was reading their lips. And my phone was recording. Subscribe right now, Catherine's about to play her final card. Kim stood up. We need those videos. Now. I'll give them to you. But only if Vanessa returns to Chicago and faces charges. Real charges. Not immunity. Not a deal. Justice. That's not how this works, Torres said. Then I'll release the videos publicly. Post them online. Send them to every news outlet in Chicago. Let the court of public opinion destroy her while your case falls apart from media contamination. Your choice. The room fell silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights. Agent Kim looked at her partner. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Finally, Torres nodded slowly. Give us 12 hours. We'll bring Vanessa back. But it has to be voluntary. We can't force her. You won't have to force her. I already sent her a message. Catherine pulled up another text. Catherine, the FBI is offering you a choice. Come back and face trial, or I release 18 months of surveillance footage showing you and Vincent planning to destroy Marcus. Every news channel. Every social media platform. Every investor and board member will see exactly who you are. You have until midnight to decide. Vanessa, you wouldn't dare. Catherine, test me. I've been invisible for 15 years. I have nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Midnight. Choose. The message had been sent 20 minutes ago. No response yet. Torres whistled low. You're playing hardball. I learned from the best. My husband built an empire by knowing when to negotiate and when to crush his opponents. Vanessa deserves to be crushed. Lily's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, just got released. Where are you? She typed back, FBI office with your mom. She's terrifying the federal agents. His response, good. That's her superpower. Agent Kim gathered her files. We'll need those videos regardless. If Vanessa doesn't take the bait, we'll need them for trial anyway. Catherine nodded and pulled out a USB drive from her purse. She'd been carrying it this whole time. Prepared for exactly this moment. Everything is here. Organized by date. Transcribed with timestamps. Cross-referenced with financial transactions. I've been building this case longer than you've been investigating it. Torres took the drive like it was made of gold. Mrs. Thornton, you'd make one hell of a federal agent. Catherine's hands moved with something that looked like satisfaction. I'd make a terrible agent. I don't follow rules. I follow results. 40 minutes later, Lily and Catherine sat in the FBI parking lot inside Marcus's Mercedes. He'd driven straight from the hospital, still wearing the wristband from his overnight stay. So we just wait? Marcus asked. Wait to see if Vanessa bites. Catherine pulled out her phone. Refreshed her messages. Nothing. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered, putting it on speaker. Catherine? Vanessa's voice was tight. Angry. Scared. You're bluffing. You have to be. Catherine's hands moved. Marcus translated, his signs rough but clear enough. I never bluff. Ask anyone who's played poker with me. I calculate odds, assess risks, and play the hand I'm dealt. You betrayed my son for money. Money you didn't earn. Money you didn't deserve. And now you'll pay for it. Your move. Subscribe, this confrontation gets brutal. If I come back, they'll charge me with conspiracy. I could go to prison. Yes. You could. Or you could stay in Toronto and watch your reputation burn in real time on every news channel in America. Watch investors sue you for the information you leaked. Watch your family disown you. Watch your name become synonymous with greed and betrayal. There was a long silence on the other end. Breathing. Calculation. What if I cooperate? Testify against Vincent and Gregory? What happens to me then? You get what you deserve. A trial. A jury. A chance to make your case. But you don't get to run. You don't get to hide. You face what you did. More silence. Then. I'll be on a flight tomorrow morning. United 1247. Arrives at O'Hare at 11:35 a.m. FBI agents will meet you at the gate. I know. Vanessa's voice broke. For what it's worth, Catherine, I never wanted to hurt Marcus. I was angry. Bitter. Vincent made it seem so easy. Catherine's hands moved with cold precision. Marcus translated without emotion. You're a grown woman who made grown-up choices. Don't insult me with excuses. See you in court. She hung up. Marcus stared at his mother. Did you actually just secure a confession and voluntary surrender from my ex-wife? Catherine's hands moved with a slight smile. I told you. I've been playing chess while everyone else played checkers. Vanessa just sacrificed herself to protect what little dignity she has left. Lily exhaled slowly. What happens now? Now we rebuild. The company. The board. The trust. And we make sure this never happens again. Marcus reached over and squeezed his mother's hand. I'm sorry, Mom. For all of it. For not learning. For not listening. For making you fight alone. Catherine squeezed back. Her hands moved slowly. Gently. You're learning now. That's what matters. And I was never alone. I had 15 years to prepare. That's a long time to sharpen your weapons. She looked at Lily in the rearview mirror. And I had you. The shy waitress who decided to speak up. Without you, none of this works. You gave me my voice back. Lily felt tears sting her eyes. I just translated. You did everything else. You did more than translate. You saw me when everyone else looked through me. That's not nothing. That's everything. The three of them sat in a car as Chicago moved around them. Traffic. People. Life continuing like the world hadn't just shifted on its axis. But for Catherine, Marcus, and Lily, everything had changed. The woman nobody heard for 15 years had just dismantled an empire of lies with nothing but patience, surveillance, and the courage to finally make the world listen. 3 months later. December. The Grand Oak restaurant looked exactly the same. Same exposed brick. Same overpriced menu. Same Friday night crowd celebrating deals and anniversaries. Lily walked past her old section, now staffed by a college kid who kept dropping silverware, and headed toward table 7. The table where everything changed. Marcus and Catherine were already seated. Catherine wore a navy dress and pearl earrings. Marcus had shaved and looked healthier than he had in months. Between them sat a glossy brochure with elegant lettering, the Catherine Thornton Foundation for Deaf Advocacy. Lily slid into her chair. Sorry I'm late. Traffic on Lake Shore was brutal. Catherine's hands moved with a smile. You're not late. We're early. Nervous habit. Nervous about what? Marcus pushed the brochure toward her. We're announcing the foundation Monday morning. $15 million in initial funding. Free legal interpreters for deaf individuals nationwide. Advocacy programs. Educational scholarships. Technology grants. It's real, Lily. We're doing it. Lily opened the brochure. Inside was a photo of Catherine signing with a young deaf girl. The caption read, "Every voice deserves to be heard." Her throat tightened. This is incredible. And we want you to run it. Lily's head snapped up. What? Catherine's hands moved with absolute certainty. Director of Operations. 6-figure salary. Full benefits. Your own team. Your own office. You'd manage interpreter placements, coordinate with law firms, oversee grant applications. Everything. I don't have experience with nonprofits. I was a waitress 3 months ago. Marcus leaned forward. You gave my mother her voice back after 15 years. You helped us take down a $70 million conspiracy. You stood up when it mattered most. That's the only experience that matters. Catherine's hands moved again. I don't need someone with nonprofit experience. I need someone who understands what it means to be invisible. To be dismissed. To fight for recognition. Someone who won't just manage programs but will fight for the people those programs serve. Lily stared at the brochure. Her grandmother's face flashed through her mind. All those years fighting alone. All those battles with insurance companies and doctors and employers who treated her like a problem instead of a person. Yes, Lily heard herself say. Yes, I'll do it. Catherine reached across the table and squeezed her hand. A waiter approached, not the college kid, but Tom, her former manager. He looked distinctly uncomfortable. Good evening. Can I start you with drinks? His voice was overly formal. Catherine's hands moved with unmistakable mischief. Tell him I'll have champagne. The most expensive bottle he has. We're celebrating. Lily translated. Tom nodded and scurried away. Marcus watched him go. You know he still talks about the night you walked out mid-shift. Says it's the most badass thing an employee's ever done here. I almost got fired. But you didn't. You got promoted to nonprofit director instead. Subscribe. One decision changed 3 lives. What's yours? They ordered dinner. Talked about foundation logistics, office locations, hiring timelines. Catherine showed Lily architectural plans for an accessibility center in downtown Chicago. Marcus discussed board restructuring, 5 new members, all vetted extensively, all committed to ethical leadership. Vincent's trial was set for February. Gregory had already pled guilty in exchange for testimony. Natalie was serving 18 months at a minimum security facility and would start community service afterward. Vanessa's trial was next month. She'd refused the immunity deal and was fighting the charges. She'd probably lose. Thornton Security Systems had survived. Stock prices had actually increased after the scandal broke. The board voted unanimously to keep Catherine as interim CEO while Marcus took time to rebuild trust and refocus the company culture. Halfway through dinner, Lily excused herself to the bathroom. On her way back, she passed a couple sitting in a booth near the kitchen. The older woman was signing frantically to the younger man, who stared at his phone, barely acknowledging her. Lily stopped walking. The woman's signs were sharp. Angry. Desperate. The man just scrolled through emails. Lily stood there for 3 seconds. 5. 10. Then she walked over to their table. "Excuse me," she said quietly. "I couldn't help noticing. I know sign language. Does she need help?" The man looked up, annoyed. "My mom's fine. We're handling it." The woman's eyes locked onto Lily. Hope flickered across her face. Her hands moved quickly. "He won't listen. I've been trying to tell him something important for weeks. Please. Help me." Lily looked at the man. At the woman. At the familiar pattern repeating itself right in front of her. She pulled out her phone and opened her contacts. Found the number for the Foundation's new hotline, the one they'd launched quietly last week for situations exactly like this. "Ma'am, I'm going to give you a number. It's for interpreters who can help you communicate whatever you need to say. They're available 24/7. Free of charge." She wrote the number on a napkin and handed it to the woman. The woman stared at it like it was a lifeline. Her hands moved slowly. "Thank you." "You're welcome." Lily walked back to table 7. Catherine and Marcus were watching. Catherine's hands moved. "You saw someone who needed help." "Yes." "And you stopped." "Yes." Catherine smiled. "That's exactly why you're perfect for this job. You see what others miss. You act when others walk by. That's the whole point." Lily sat down. Her food was cold now, but she didn't care. Marcus raised his glass. To voices. To listening. To the people who refused to stay silent. They clinked glasses. Champagne bubbles caught the candlelight. As they finished dinner, Lily glanced back at the couple. The woman was on her phone now, calling the number. The man looked confused, but he'd put his phone down. He was watching his mother. Really watching her. Maybe something would change for them tonight. Maybe it wouldn't. But at least now there was a chance. Like Catherine says. Subscribe, more stories need telling. More voices need hearing. They left the Grand Oak just after 10. Chicago glittered around them, a city of millions, each with their own story, their own silence, their own fight for recognition. Catherine paused on the sidewalk. Her hands moved one final time. "You know what I realized after all this?" "What?" Lily asked. Being invisible for 15 years wasn't a weakness. It was preparation. It taught me patience. Strategy. Observation. Everything I needed to win when the moment came. Sometimes silence isn't defeat. Sometimes it's just gathering ammunition. She looked at Lily with fierce certainty. So to everyone who's ever been dismissed, ignored, or underestimated, keep watching. Keep documenting. Keep preparing. Your moment will come. And when it does, make it count. They walked toward Marcus's car. 3 people bound together by one chance encounter at table 7. A shy waitress who spoke up. A billionaire who finally listened. And a deaf woman who waited 15 years to remind the world that silence doesn't mean powerless. It just means they haven't heard the roar yet. Did you connect with this story? Subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the most powerful voices are the ones we almost miss.